Israel was winning in Lebanon. Trump said, Netanyahu, stop. Netanyahu stopped. Israel was winning in Syria. Trump said, Netanyahu, stop. Netanyahu stopped. Israel was winning in Iran. The 12-day war. The Israeli fighter jets were operating freely over Iranian airspace. They were probably hours away from taking out the Ayatollahs, especially after you see how unstable the country is. But what did Trump do? Trump came into the war to stop the Israelis and save the Ayatollahs. Okay? And what about Qatar? When Israel made an operation against Hamas leaders being protected in Qatar, Trump had a giant tantrum, Olympic tantrum, and then he made Netanyahu apologize to the murderer of 1,200 Israelis down here in Gaza and the abductor of 250 Israelis, the emir of Qatar, right? Netanyahu was made to apologize to that guy by Trump. And then Trump said, I'm extending NATO-level protection to Qatar, which obviously means Israel, if you ever attack Qatar again, you're fighting with me. And Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, announced that now the US is going to be training the Qatari Air Force. And Trump stopped Israel in Gaza.
What if America is actually funding the very forces that want it destroyed? Meet Francisco Gil-White, a political anthropologist with a PhD in evolutionary anthropology who studies how entire populations are manipulated through the narrative. And here is what makes this different. He's a Noahide, not Jewish, not Israeli.
No reason why any Jew should not hold his head high. There is no record on earth like the record of the Jewish nation.
Yet, he believes the Torah may be the only thing standing between the West and collapse. Let's dive in.
It doesn't make sense for Jews to assume that they're going to live in peace. There's no such thing. There's no such thing for the Jewish people. Are you people in a madhouse? Did you forget the Shoah already? It's only been a generation. There's no such thing as living in peace. You have to win first. You have to save the Goyim. Then you will live in peace. If you haven't saved the Goyim yet, they will come and kill you. That's how it works. There is no border of Israel in which Trump did not engineer the defeat of the IDF. He did it in every single front. So he is your enemy. And this is a pattern that is consistent across US presidents. That's why I went back to Reagan. I can fill it in if you want, but it's easier if people go to the articles and see the documentation. Every single president has been undermining the security of Israel. If the most powerful country in the world is your enemy, you should just assume that your government has been corrupted.
Yeah.
Why would you assume anything else? They have tremendous resources with which to corrupt your government. If they're your enemies, well, obviously that they did it already. And that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? It would explain why every single time the Israeli government does something important, it ends up affecting the security of the Jewish state negatively. I mean, that it seems like out of some comedy movie. How can it be possible that these people always undermine the security of the Jewish state? They managed to lose all of the wars they're winning. How did they do that? They did it because Donald Trump gave them an order. That's exactly what happened. So the question you have to ask yourself is not why they did it. We know why they did it. They did it because they're the servants of the US president. The question is, what is happening psychologically inside the Israeli citizenry that it is so difficult to notice this?
Well, I think Israelis love peace. We love to just believe that everything will be okay. Everybody's so excited to get back to normal life. Happy ending, American movie, everything is good at the end. The European movies don't have happy endings.
Okay, so then the question, I guess, is larger. It's a question that has to do with Jewish education. Because you see, from the most obvious scientific point of view, the least risky prediction that a historian can make about the 21st century is that there's going to be a great mass killing of Jews.
Right.
Why? Because we had one the century before, and the century before that, and the centuries before that, century after
now we have
century
this-
after century. Right? It happens every century. Right? So you would think, oh, well, the Jews must have understood after a few centuries that this happens every century. I mean, just like we know that the sun is going to come out tomorrow because it's come out every day of our lives way back until the day that we were born, right? It's the same kind of inference process. Why doesn't it happen with the Jewish people? Why are the Jewish people surprised when everybody comes to kill them again, if it happens every century? And so I think the real question is about how is the educational system of the Jewish people structured so that it manages to raise a new generation of people who will be surprised when the very thing that happened to their grandparents and to their great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents happens to them. It doesn't make sense for Jews to assume that they're going to live in peace. Because you were talking about people want to get back to normal. There's no such thing. There's no such thing for the Jewish people. Are you people in a madhouse? Did you forget the Shoah already? It's only been a generation. There's no such thing as living in peace. You have to win first.
Yeah.
You have to win. You have to save the Goyim. Then you will live in peace. If you haven't saved the Goyim yet, they will come and kill you. That's how it works. We've seen it for centuries.
The message, I think, if I understand, you'll just summarize and tell me if I'm right, and I'll give you the last blessing. The blessing
right.
to lead us out.
Okay.
So the message is, guys, that the Jewish people are special. And when we say we're
Amen.
special, it's not that we go on the little bus. What it means is that we have a mission, and this mission is blatantly obvious to every person in the world, but unfortunately sometimes to the Jew, it's less. He wants to try to fit in. He wants to be like in every other nation. He wants to be like, let's just be like, Mexico or America.
He wants to be humble about the Jews. No,
Yeah.
the Jews are a heroic nation.
So stand up, be proud to be Jewish, show your identity, and learn what it means to be a Jew. Look into history. A Jew is not just a victim. And that was the commercial for the Super Bowl where everybody was making fun of that the Jew was a victim. The Jew isn't a victim. The Jew is a 6 foot tall guy, and he's really strong, and the world looks up to him. And if he acts like a fool, then they're going to kick him. And they have good reason to kick him because he's not doing his job. So that's my opinion.
Well, I mean, I like that. I think that there's no reason for any Jew not to hold his head high, because there is no record of any nation quite like the record of the Jewish nation. What can compare? What nation can boast that they saved an entire civilization? Because that is what the Jewish nation did with the West. When the Jewish nation came in contact with the Greco-Roman world, the Greco-Romans were completely lost. It was a world of total sin. Okay, these people thought, just as an example, that it made sense for your day of fun, like going to the movies, to go to a stadium to see how a human being was destroyed by an African beast. These people were completely nuts. And the Jews saved them. The West today, look, the West began with the worst societies on the planet Earth. The worst. And it ended up with the best. And that is an achievement of the Jewish nation. So there's no reason why any Jew should not hold his head high. There's no record on earth like the record of the Jewish nation. And what is endangering the world today, in my view, is that the Jews have forgotten their mission. We need them. We need the Jews to save us. And I think a lot of Goyim are ready to fight with and for the Jews, but we'd like for them to lead.
Francisco, Dr. White, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you more in Israel. Maybe we'll go visit in Yehuda v'Shamron. We'll be able to see that new settlement that's being built. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.